So coming to the, let's see about the energy requirement. Energy expenditure in premature is growth. So there is a high, like the growth is a rapid phase here, right? So there is an increased need for synthesis and new tissue. So in addition to that, there is an increased heat loss and evaporation due to fine skin, and they have a greater surface mass also. So conditions such as those, like, if they have any respiratory difficulty and sepsis, there the energy expenditure becomes even more higher. So inability to achieve this adequate intake is usually caused, when we see, is when they have a fluid restriction, or when there is intolerance to infusion of glucose solution, or sometimes when there is a recurring limitation of lipids. Sometimes when complication, they have respiratory functions or hyperbilirubinemia and sepsis, the calories are not, the fat might be restricted, and they might not get the sufficient energy. But remember always, the baseline energy requirement, at least 60 kilocal per kg, would be required immediately. Okay. And when it is a ventilated preterm babies, their requirements are going high, can go up to even 150 kilocalorie per kg per day. Coming to the glucose, we all know about the glucose infusion rate. The maximum what we have to reach should be only 14 mg per kg per minute. We can start with 6 and slowly increase. Protein again from 1 to 3 grams, and lipid same way from 1 to 3 grams. So coming to the strategies, what we need to follow is start the nutrition as early as possible. Provide energy, protein, minerals, vitamins using the combination of parenteral and enteral nutrition. So even using fortified human milk, preterm infant formulas can also be used. Post hospital discharge feedings needs to be educated to them. Assess the growth and nutrition status daily. So the fluid restriction, when there are like fluid restriction, could be premature infants. They usually have a greater ECF volume. So initial diuresis occur within the first week of life. That is around 10 to 15% loss of body weight for premature infants. This can be up to 20% for even extremely low birth weight. So we can start with 80 and go up to 140. Extremely low birth weight, we can go even up to 200 ml per kg per day. The after the baby is stabilized, the fluid goal can be like 100 to 150, and fluid restriction might be required for that cardiac or some renal cases. Now, coming to the carbohydrate, as I said, the GIR, we'll start with initial 6, and then as the child is tolerating, we can adjust by 2 mg per kg and go up to maximum 14 mg per kg. And protein for infants who are less than 1500 grams, we can ideally begin with 1 to 1.5 grams per kg. Sometimes they even go start with 2 grams per kg per day and advances slowly and go up to 3 to 3.5 grams per kg. So infants who are whose weight is slightly, like, we can adjust based on the requirement, but in randomly we have to go like from 1, 3, or even up to 4 grams given in certain conditions. Fat, again, as I said, fat be like you can start with 1 gram and then advance slowly by zero point 0.5 to 1 gram per kg per day. We can keep a goal of like 3 grams per kg. So it can be through the peripheral or central line for over 20 to 24 hours. Sometimes in neonates and infants, they give a gap, like, 3 to 4 hours gaps are given, and or sometimes it might be even 24 hours. They depend on individual conditions. So we have to remember to monitor the serum triglyceride levels. The normal range is 200 mg per day. You have to target not to exceed that. Essential fatty acid deficiency may occur when it is like we are feeding them without lipid for a long time. Okay, so it's essential that lipid should be given to infants. So coming to early enteral nutrition benefits, we all know that it will help to prevent GI atrophy. It stimulates GI growth and maturation. It stimulates the enteric hormone release, and even the complimation like with the TPN associated cholestasis or like the fear of getting a neck could be avoided by following an early enteral nutrition. So the choice of feeding, what would we give? The first thing is breast milk. Whenever possible, the breast milk in the form of EBM would be our first choice. Sometimes even when we need to add on the calories and protein, the best way is to use a human milk fortifier. So this will help to add proteins, carbohydrate, vitamins and minerals. What we usually use in our center is Lactodex, and this will be like powder, which I'll stay in my following slides. In my case study, I will tell you how to use that. So let's see how to go about by the feeding advancements. So feeding initiation is based on the birth weight and advance as the child is tolerating. Even we have to look into, like, is there a risk of the gastric residual volume? Is it going high, like compared to the previous hours? That what should be there. You have to even look into the abdominal distension or girth. Is we have to look into that. Vomiting or bilous residuals, heme positive or frank blood in stools need to be looked on. Increase in apnea or bradycardia with feeds also needs to be monitored. So these are the warning signs for feed intolerance. What shouldn't be fed, like what should not be given? It is the standard term or the cow's milk based formula. Okay, so this does not meet the nutritional requirements, or even the protein or minerals. And one more main thing is these are not tolerated by the preterm. Preterm has got separate preterm formulas. We need to use that rather than using the normal standard infant iron rich formula, which are for 0 to 6 months. Instead of that, we choose the preterm formulas. Okay, and even the standard soya based formulas, they are also not suitable. They are not suitable even for less than 6 months, unless and like the specific condition required for a soya based. It is not advisable to go for a soya based formulas also.